We have failed, and you must accept our education system has failed our youth. We have poured resources to it. Remember, it's not a question of money. It's not as if money wasn't available, but the system of education, the curriculum, the contestation, the over-politicization, over-racialization of it led to a situation where today our graduates cannot stand on their own.
We are number one in inequality. This is what you are telling us. This is what Thomas Piketty is telling us. We are number one in HIV infections. We are number one in rape and domestic violence. We are number one in corporate theft and corruption. We are number one in so many bad things.
The real answer to our jobs crisis isn't going to come from us relying on large firms doing it. I think anyone who says we're going to get massive growth in the formal employment sector is I think, not being honest with themselves.
The problem with arguing that you do the redistribution through social security is that social security systems don't do all that much redistributing from the rich to the poor.
Redistributing in the name of the social security, pouring resources into incompetent teachers who building our next generation to remain dependent upon some handout of some kind. We need to talk about these things.
The NDP is not meant to be enough, if I can just say that. It's meant to offer a guiding vision to draw the nation together. Insofar as some of this vision feels repellent to some people, then we should say so specifically, because it's not the Bible.
Entrepreneurship is a bourgeois ideology to dupe us. You see, as soon as someone stands here and tells you about what affects you directly, which is your economic well-being, the economy, I should quote Malcolm X, we are being fooled, we are being duped, we are being taken for a ride. There is no way someone can talk about what affects you, and then you are puzzled. No.
We are not short of talk shops. We are short of keeping people accountable. The day that a president looks to a minister and say, you have failed the nation, out. No discussion. The day that a president goes to a municipality
That's
and
why
says,
we have monitoring and evaluation.
But I don't want a report from that unit. I want rewarding
Action.
those who have achieved and sack those who are subverting the poverty alleviation.
Hey, where is the root cause of the corruption? I don't believe that all the tenders being given out by the government are corrupt. Okay, maybe a majority, but what I'm trying to say is that no.
What one finds quite questionable is that sectors are dominated by companies. The sector skills plans are formulated in consultation primarily with the industries, and also workplace skills plans which are developed and formulated by employers with minimal influence by workers. Right? So effectively, employers are driving sectors. And through sectors, employers and industries had an opportunity to drive the problem of shortage of skills. But 14 years after the existence of sectors, sectors have not made significant impact to address the shortage of skills and so forth. But employers have been able to claim their skills development levies, and particularly big employers. Right?
What would be the impact of the state provisioning of some of these services, whether it be health, whether it be education, whether it be public transport, provided directly by the state? What would be the impact of that?
Thank you very much.
My question is to Miriam, and it's to Trevor as well. Right? What practical steps can be done so that every South African owns the National Development Plan? If they disagree with it, they disagree with it having been informed. What can be done? Can that be answered? If you're going to theorize, I'd prefer you to not answer the question. Thanks.
Thank you.
You.
We can't solve problems if we don't play open cards. I say this in light of Chapter 4 of the NDP, which states explicitly that the bulk of the costs of infrastructure development has to be carried by the user. And this has a manifestation in reality in e-tolls.
Yeah.
So I see e-tolls as a test. I see the NDP saying something which is related to how the NPC views infrastructure development going forward. But the NPC are not coming out and making a public pronouncement on their position. So this I see as some sort of a silent chess game or anything. I'd like to hear the NPC basically pronounce and say, yes, we support e-tolls, because that also provides a test as to how the public feel about the NDP in a way, because it gives a very good example.
I think we are very good at defining and conceptualizing these concepts and these isms, but the fundamental principles that you don't get, and this is something that is wrong. We do not want to talk about it. I suggest that Marian really listen to Iraj when he talks about the issues of accountability, issues of people accounting for what they're doing. I mean, for God's sake, if these people do not want to do their job, we can give them 30% of the budget and they can be corrupt on the side, and the right people will do their job.
We got to talk about the accountability of the public sector. Public sector uses nearly 50% of GDP in this country. They don't produce, they use.
Even if we succeed in having unemployment and getting to full employment, that we would still have very deep working poverty because it's so expensive to live in this country relative to what people earn.
You're competing with the rest of the world. If you really are aggressive in taxing the rich, taxing professional people, taxing highly skilled people, they go somewhere else.
The third reality is that if you want to be part of the global economy, you got to be either competitive or not. You can't be still, look, I want your money, but I don't want to do other conditions. You can't, you won't get that. So manufacturing sector has suffered jobs partly because the process of automation in agriculture, in mining, in manufacturing, in banking, in everything that we do, in telecommunication, increasingly and irreversibly is replacing humans by machines. And increasingly machines themselves are being replaced by digital robots. So we got to accept that. Therefore, we need to say the structure of the economy, come back to the education system, come back to the training system. We can complain about these things until we go blue in the face. Yeah. Technology will not stop.